I like to give all honor, glory, and praise unto the Most High. And today what we're gonna be talking about is the best men and the most noblest souls, man. I came across that, those words when I was reading the writings of Josephus, man, in the Antiquities of the Jews, and this was about the time where Antiochus Epiphanes, he was the king of Greece, and he was ransacking Jerusalem. And we're just gonna read a few passages, and you know, just so you guys could get a context what was going on, and you're gonna see at that time, you know, what Josephus wrote, while he was ransacking Jerusalem, what people were the best men and the most noblest souls, man. So we're gonna get into it, man. Yeah. So we're gonna start at 4, and we're gonna start reading from the highlighted part in number 4. So the king came up to Jerusalem, and pretending peace, he got possession of the city by treachery. Oh man, that brought it to my head. First, when they speak of peace and safety, man, then comes sudden destruction. Came with peace. Let's keep going. At which time he spared not so much as those that admitted him into it, on account of the riches that lay in the temple, but led by his covetous inclination, for he saw there was in it a great deal of gold, and many ornaments that had been dedicated to it of very great value. And in order to plunder its wealth, he ventured to break the league he had made. So he left the temple bare, and took away the golden candlesticks, and the golden altar of incense, and the table of shewbread, and the altar of burnt offering, and did not abstain from even the vials which were made of fine linen and scarlet. He also emptied it of its secret treasures, and left nothing at all remaining. And by this means cast the Jews into great lamentation. He forbade them to offer those daily sacrifices which they used to offer to God according to the law. And when he had pillaged the whole city, some of the inhabitants he slew, and some he carried captive, together with their wives and children, so that the multitude of those captives that were taken alive amounted to about 10,000. He also burnt down the finest building, and when he had overthrown the city walls, he built a citadel in the lower part of the city, for the place was high and overlooked the temple, on which account he fortified it with high walls and towers, and put into it a garrison of Macedonians. However, in that citadel dwelt the impious and wicked part of the Jewish multitude, from whom it proved that the citizens suffered many and sore calamities. And when the king had built an idol altar upon the Most High's altar, he slew swine upon it. This guy's wicked, man. And so offered a sacrifice neither according to the law nor to the Jewish religious worship in that country. So you see this guy's ransacking Jerusalem right now, man. Offered swine upon the Most High's altar, overthrew the city walls, man. Let's keep going. He also compelled them to forsake the worship which they paid their own God, and to adore those whom he took to be gods. He made them build temples and raise idol altars in every city and village, and offer swine upon them every day. This guy is wicked, man. He also commanded them not to circumcise their sons, and threatened to punish any that should be found to have transgressed the injunction. He also appointed overseers who were compelled to do what he commanded. Now this part coming up here is important, man. It says, and indeed, many Jews there were who complied with the king's commands, either voluntarily or out of fear of the penalty that was denounced. But the best men and those of the noblest souls did not regard him, but did pay a greater respect to the customs of their country than concerned as to the punishment which he had threatened to the disobedient. On which account they every day underwent great miseries and bitter torments, man. So you see what that says, man. But the best men and those of the noblest souls did not regard him, man. What does that sound like, man? On which account every day they underwent great miseries and bitter torments, man. Let's keep going. For they were whipped with rods, and their bodies were torn to pieces, and were crucified while they were still alive and breathing. They also strangled those women and their sons, whom they had circumcised, as the king had appointed, hanging their sons about their necks, as they were upon the crosses. And if there were any sacred book of the law found, it was destroyed, and those with whom they were found miserably perished also, man. I mean, so you see, man. Let's go back to that verse real quick. So you see, there were some that complied. You mean, out of fear. I mean, but then there was others, and this is what Josephus wrote right here. The ones that didn't comply, he said, these were the best men and those of the noblest souls. I mean, and you know that stood out to me when I was reading that, man. I mean, the best men and the noblest souls had no regard, man, and they chose to die. Like, look, man. I mean, we're not gonna go against, you know, the teachings of the Most High, man. I mean, and the laws of our fathers, and you know what I mean. Once again, that verse in Hebrews popped into my head. Choosing rather suffer affliction, man, with the people of the Most High than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. Yeah. The best men and those of the noblest souls, man, endured that. I mean, every day underwent great miseries, man. I mean, and you know what I mean, some of us, I mean, we come from that lot, man. I mean, it's just modern day time, man. I mean, modern day. Same thing going on, man. I mean, that's a lot that, I mean, some of us come from, man. Our ancestors, man. Let's keep going, man. Look at this verse in the Book of Mormon real quick. Yeah, that's what I mean. So, you know, a lot of these guys, they think that, you know what I mean, they're doing a good service, you know, with the things that they've done in the past and currently. But we're going to take a look at Alma chapter 60, man. We're going to start at verse 12. You know what I mean? Do you suppose that because so many of your brethren have been killed, it is because of their wickedness? I say unto you, if you have supposed this, ye have supposed in vain. For I say unto you, there are many who have fallen by the sword. And behold, it is to your condemnation. For the Lord suffereth the righteous to be slain, that his justice and judgment may come upon the wicked. Therefore, ye need not suppose that the righteous are lost because they are slain, but behold, they do enter into the rest of the Lord their God. And now, behold, I say unto you, I fear exceedingly that the judgments of God will come upon this people, man, because of the exceedingly slothfulness, and yea, even the slothfulness of our government, man, of the government, and the exceedingly great neglect towards their brethren, yea, towards those that have been slain, man, those that have been slain, those that have been tortured, man. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. This is a picture of the Roman Empire, man, and this is the kind of in the Colosseum, this is the kind of stuff that the saints had to go through. They chose to go through these torments and afflictions, man. You know what I mean? And then basically what the guy was saying, man, I fear for the people that's doing this, man. You know what I mean? For you guys slaying the righteous, man, and the government showing neglect towards it. You know what I mean? And what that popped into my head was again, was a verse from Thomas Jefferson, man. I mean, a quote from him. Not a verse, I should say, a quote. And it reads, I tremble for my country when I reflect that the Most High is just and that his justice cannot sleep forever, man. So, yeah. This is what Thomas Jefferson said, and this was way back then, you know. And, you know, all the things that they've done, it hasn't been fully recompensed on them yet, man. You know, because Lord knows the manner of wickedness that he was seeing back then for him to make a quote like this, you know, and probably participating in it or turn a blind eye to, you know, the neglect of the government, like what you were saying, man. So the Most High is fair and just, and that's why the Most High is, you know, he says on that day he's gonna laugh at these people's calamities, man, and turn his back towards them, just like how the government turned their back towards, you know, a lot of the targeted individuals, things of that nature, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, so in conclusion, man, I mean, These were the best and the most noblest men, most noblest souls. I mean, that chose to stood for the Most High, man. And I mean, don't ever think that you're inferior, man. I mean, cause just remember all the great men, all the great women. I mean, that stood for the Lord, man. That died, you know. And matter of fact, I wanna show you something. You know what I mean, from Judas Maccabeus. You know what I mean. It was a kind of his, you know, the things that a little summary on his life for when he died, man. And then, you know what I mean, and we're gonna bring that out real quick. So this is Judas Maccabeus right here. First Maccabees chapter 3, verse 4 through 7. And his axe he was like a lion, and like a lion's whelp, roaring for his prey. For he pursued the wicked, and sought them out, and burnt up those that vexed his people. Wherefore the wicked shrunk for the fear of him, and all the workers of iniquity were troubled, because salvation prospered in his hand. He grieved also many kings, and made Jacob glad with his axe. And right here, and his memorial is blessed forever, man. His memorial is blessed forever. So you know what that means, man? When cats get up to the kingdom, they're gonna remember him, man. I mean, and this goes back to that video I did on famous men. You could be famous within your own nation. His memorial is blessed forever. He's not gonna be forgotten about, man. When you get up into the kingdom, people gonna be like, "Where's Judas Maccabeus at, man?" You know what I mean? That's fame right there, man. And the same thing is gonna happen. You know what I mean? Because the Most High said, even those that's not recorded, I mean, is not gonna be forgotten about, man. Even those that's not recorded in the books that stood it, you know what I mean, and got martyred and things like that, man, and underwent torments and great miseries, their memorial is gonna be blessed forever, man. You know what I mean, of course they can't put everybody down in the book. You know, you won't be able to finish that thing. You know, but this is just an example, man. You know what I mean, Lord willing, we keep going. Our memorial is gonna be blessed forever, man. And that's something they can't blot out. I mean, like I said, all these celebrities, man, they gonna fade, man. In due time. Kobe, all that's gonna fade away. I mean, Most High, like I said, when he makes you famous, he's gonna make you famous forever, man. So all praises to the Most High, man. Like, I just had to get that one off, man.